All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hope that you guys have grabbed a quick bite and y'all are ready to rock and roll and keep this thing going. What an amazing event and turnout we've had so far. I know I'm going to give everybody a chance to join in here and before we get started, but just like the rest of our sessions today, that if you have any tech support questions, you're going to ask them in the chat section over there. If you have any questions for Amol, then you're going to ask him in the Q&A section. We have packed a ton of solution-focused content today, and so that unfortunately that means that we don't have a lot of time for Q&A at the end. But please put them in there anyway, and we'll make sure that the speakers get the questions, and that way we can answer those. Also, if you'd like to reach out to our speakers, I'm going to ask them at the end to connect with you guys. Try to reach with them in person. Or connect with us, and we'll get you in touch with the speaker so you can continue the conversation. The goal of this whole thing is to really start the solution conversation, and then you get to finish it with the individual provider on their own. So we're really excited about it. Yep. Once again, chat is for technical support and chatting with other attendees. Q&A is for the speaker. And so with that, I'm going to try to, we're going to roll right into this because we have a few more speakers this afternoon, but I'm really excited to have Amol and Nirgudkar to join us today. Amol is going to talk to us about leveraging artificial intelligence, which is so exciting to ignite DSO growth. And we've really seen the proliferation of AI as they come into not only this space, but all across the market. So I'm pretty excited about that. So a little bit about Amol. Amol helps dentists grow their practices and reach their revenue goals. As a certified public accountant, business consultant, and author and inventor, he's had 20 years of experience working with dental practices and groups. He is the co-founder of Patient Prism, an award-winning call tracking software that leverages the power of artificial intelligence to review and score new patient phone calls. Amol has 5 patents to his credit and is also one of the most well-known and highly followed thought leaders in dentistry. So Amol, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it and excited to hear your talk.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. Welcome to this wonderful event that's focused on solutions in the DSO world or in dentistry overall. And my goal here for the next 15 minutes is going to not just talk about what we do as a solution from a solution standpoint, but to broadly understand where we are in dentistry today and what's really happening in terms of technology. And 2022 is an interesting year. We came out of the pandemic a few years ago, and 2021 was a great year of the great resurgence of dentistry. I mean, everybody grew quite a bit in 2021. 2022 has what we saw that in the first quarter, but there has been some interesting happenings on the economic side with interest rates going up, consumer spending going down, gas prices going up. So there's lots of stuff happening, and my talk really, I want to really focus on looking at profitability from a different angle, and in figuring out new ways to make sure that the growth that we deserve to grow at is maintained and we keep growing at a good level. Same store growth is a big topic in the DSO world, and we want to make sure that our practices are growing at a good pace and hopefully at a double-digit clip. I mean, sometimes it's not possible, especially this year. But at the same time, we are aware of all the metrics that we need to measure so that we can easily turn some levers in our direction so that we can grow our practices in a very predictable manner. And so the title of my presentation is Revolutionize the Way You Look at Profitability. Is I'm talking about understanding of metrics, understanding of what's going on and measuring things that we didn't measure before so that we can make that impact on the journey of the patient. You know, what's been happening right now, I'm gonna start the presentation with a few statistics that I just heard this morning from Dr. Scott Luna, who's a famous dentist out there, does breakaway seminars, and he was telling me that one of the statistics that had was in my notes was that currently average dental offices are losing about 27 patients per month. It's an interesting statistic, and the reappointment rate for hygiene is only 59%. Interesting number that should be looked at and seeing what we can do to kind of not let the attrition happen. But here's where we are today. Dentistry, we are practicing dentistry in the era of consumerism. We've got social media, we've got TikTok, we got dentists on TikTok and dentists on Snapchat, and everything is happening. And we have to be cognizant that the era of consumerism has begun with the advent of social media and instantaneous information. And we have to understand and respect what consumerism means in order for us to serve new patients and grow our practices. So that's really important. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence and how do you hack growth, right? What do we need in terms of metrics and data? And what does data mean? Does data mean just pretty charts and numbers on a spreadsheet, or data means that something that you can act upon, which is actionable data? And I'm going to talk a little bit about micrometrics and why they're important, because sometimes we measure things at a very big surface level, and surface level only gives us enough insight into what's really causing whatever we're trying to accomplish. So in order to understand what is happening and why it's happening, we have to go down a few steps deeper in order to understand, like, oh, wow, this is the reason why we're not growing. And it may not have anything to do with what we thought the reason was. So here's the four major pillars of consumerism, in my view, at least in dentistry. Consumers today have less time. Everybody has less time. So in order for us to be able to get to them, we have to be able to show up, number one, from a standpoint, okay, somebody has a traffic light, has a need for dental services. They're going to search on Google. They're going to hopefully find you. They're going to like what they see, and they're going to be able to call you. And they're going to be able to want to be able to talk to somebody real quick and get an appointment done. So shortage of time is important from a patient standpoint, as well as from the standpoint of our team members. There's shortage of time there. There's not enough time in the day to do all the things we want to do. So we want to make sure we respect the team members as well in this era of consumerism, that there is shortage of time. We have to be able to do things quickly. In healthcare, patient sophistication and trust is becoming super important, which means we have to deliver. Our patients are way more sophisticated today than they ever have been. They know exactly that they need a crown on tooth number 14 or they may need a root canal. So we have to make sure our team members on the phone, on our websites, or everywhere else are conveying to the patient that we are knowledgeable, and we are knowledgeable enough so that we can earn their trust. Earning trust is very important. And if you don't know what you're talking about, then that becomes problematic. So training is a big issue here. Marketing has become a big focus in the last 20 years. Clear Choice Dental Implant Centers created the concept of, like, hey, we can go directly to consumers to get these patients. And so we have to understand that we have to spend more money on marketing to drive new patients of the right kind into our funnel. And we have to have focus on that. So if we don't understand marketing today, if we think marketing should be this 2% of your revenues, that was the metric 20 years ago, you're wrong, because obviously more dollars are being spent on all sorts of marketing than never before in dentistry. Access to care is important. It's really important to get patients in your offices within a short period of time. You can't have 90 days booked out. You cannot have 60 days booked out. You cannot be 30 days booked out. You have to be able to get a patient in within the shortest period of time. So you have to think about all the things that are needed in order to get access to care easier and faster and better in all kinds of ways. So that being said, what I talk a lot about is the journey of the patient. What does it matter? Where does it start? Where does it end? And what you need in terms of this is, if you're a DSO or group practice, or even a single doctor, single practitioner, you have to really understand, map, and appreciate the journey that new patient takes right now to come into your offices, right? It most likely starts with a Google search. Sometimes it starts with social media. Very few times it starts with an insurance referral. The patient has a need, they search, and they hopefully land. If you have good SEO optimized, if you have people like Dreamscape, if you have SEO optimized, if you have an ad, they show up, they look at your stuff, right? Your ad hopefully shows up, your organic rankings show up. If you show up, then they're going to see you. Then they see you, they have to like you, right? They have to like your reviews, your reputation, all the stuff. And you have to like your website, the videos on it. So you have to convert them to move forward, right? They found you, they have to convert them to move forward, then they're going to call you to book an appointment, right? At that point, right? At that point, what we have seen, the national statistics that came out yesterday from the ADA, that the phone conversion rate right now with new patients nationwide is 42%. So 58% of new patients who are calling your office on an average are not booking an appointment. And that's a big problem. In marketing lingo, we call it leak at the top of the funnel. So we have to understand that that's where Patient Prism comes in. We actually help understand, we leverage AI to understand those conversations so that we can move that patient forward. Obviously, you have to really think about what happens at the assistant hygiene level, doctor level, and treatment plan coordinator level to be able to move that patient forward. If you stop the patient in their tracks, they're not going to move forward. So appreciating mapping the patient journey is super important, and understanding the metrics around that is important as well. So what we do at Patient Prism is really 4 things, right? We solve for this, and I'll tell you how. We make sure that you're attracting the right high value patients in your practice. What kind of patients are you attracting in your practice, and what number? That's important to know that. Are you converting those calls into booked appointments? That's super important as well. You have to be able to convert. Just spending more money on marketing and driving those leads is not enough. You have to be able to convert those guys, because otherwise it's wasted marketing dollars, right? Are you overcoming growth challenges? Which means, do you have other things in your office that are preventing the patient from booking an appointment? It's not all about marketing sometimes, right? Sometimes it's about you not being able to have space for that patient to come see you for the hygiene visit. If you say today, if any of your offices are saying today that the next hygiene appointment, December 15th, I am sorry. You got to really think about your operations and say, man, that's not acceptable, right? Nobody's going to wait that long. That's why your cancellations and no-shows are high. So we figure that out. We tell you reasons why patients are not booking. Is it scheduling? Is it maybe capacity? Is it pricing? Is it insurance? Is it some other reason? So we look at that data, and we tell you that in real time, what is happening, what's really the problem in this stuff. And at the end of the day, all of us only get better with training. All of us need coaches. All of us need help in whatever we're doing in life, business or personal. We need a coach. And we are very passionate about training team members in real time on how to address some of the soft skills that are needed. No patient knows how good of a dentist you are, but they know how you make them feel, right? If you make them feel that they can trust you, then you have won the battle. So we have to train our team members to earn patient trust while on the phone in the shortest period of time. These are the 4 things that we solve for at Patient Prism. So how does it work, right? It's interesting. The delivering the full promise of AI is a new patient calls in at 9 o'clock, for example, and says, I need 2 extractions and 2 implants. Wonderful. The AI looks at your fee schedule and says, okay, 2 extractions at $250 each. Hopefully that makes clear they're surgical, and then $5,000 a piece. That's $10,500 is the value of the opportunity. AI analyzes that in less than a minute, right? AI takes 0.2 seconds to analyze a 10-minute conversation. Humans can't compete with that, right? Then the call, if the patient doesn't book a call, then our humans in Tampa look at the notes that AI has made, provide some immediate coaching, and within 15 minutes, right now it's actually 11 minutes, 10 and a half minutes, you get an alert from our system, the office manager or the call center manager, saying that, hey, we lost $10,500. What do we do about that? And along with that alert, we send a couple of training videos. I'm like, hey, you had a patient that was out of network. This is what you should have said in order to get them in. Or you had a patient who was very concerned with price, but we didn't offer them financing. Or you had a patient that needed Invisalign, but you had no idea what that was. Or they asked about ClearCorrect, and then you said, oh, we only have Invisalign. So all these things are sent to you within 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, right? And now the offices have the second opportunity to make that first impression. Now you're able to go back to the patient like, sorry, you called us earlier. We forgot to give you information about CareCredit. You can come on in and we'll get back in. And that's how you recover revenue. This, guys, is the full promise of AI. To be able to analyze a conversation accurately within 10 minutes of missing the patient, missing the appointment, and being able to take corrective action. This is the full promise of AI. And we're the only company in the world today that deliver this full promise of AI. AI comes in all shapes and forms, but the full promise comes when you can take that intelligence, take that data, take something that didn't happen 10 minutes ago and actually are able to figure out how to recover that lost opportunity. That's why we have done well in the space, is because we have focused on all elements of change management. What's happening at the front has to do with how you adopt this technology within your DSO, within your dental practice. And when we focus a lot of this data with our customer success managers, who will look at it and say, guys, we are not returning these calls, or we're not offering financing. Let's offer them more training. There are multiple factors why we're not growing. And at the top of the funnel, we want to understand what those are. And we're going to tell you that in 10 minutes of each missed opportunity. So that in a nutshell is my demo. If you want to schedule something, I'm going to end a little bit sooner because I want you to have time. If there's questions, please put them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Glenn, schedule a demo with us. We will diagnose if you need this or not. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have good marketing leads coming in, our stuff doesn't work. If you don't have new patients coming in, our stuff doesn't work. But diagnosing what it is really important. And I'm really honored to work with Dreamscape and their team, because one of the things that I like about your website and what you guys say is it's transparency matters, ethical behavior matters, and transparency in marketing is really, really important. You have to understand what it costs to acquire a customer. And with that, I'm going to stop. Glenn, if you have any questions, if our people have any questions, I'm happy to answer them in the Q&A session. I don't want to keep talking. I could do this for all day.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. And yes, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A section, and we'll go through them. I just want to touch on a couple of things that you brought up. We were talking about earlier, the different touch points in the funnel and having transparency around that. It's exciting to me, because whenever we talk with joint clients about the transparency that we can bring all the way down the funnel, and you see their eyes light up and they say, "You can do that?" Like, yes, absolutely. And in other areas of business, like we've seen, not only can we do that, that's the way business is done. And so it's exciting to see that in this space, and see the more sophistication come in through the different operators, and being able to track that all the way down through the funnel. So while people are putting their questions in, let me ask you, where are you going to be next? Where can the audience connect with you face to face and continue the conversation?
I'm going to be in Nashville for like 4 days. There's 2 events that are happening. There's the DSO Technology Summit that's happening on October 4th and 5th. And there's the DSO Leadership Summit that's happening October 6th and 7th. I'm going to be there in Nashville for 4 days, back-to-back summits in the city of Nashville. Lots of music, lots of dentistry, lots of cool talk about this stuff. So I'm speaking at both these events on for a much longer period of time on how to really operationalize AI within your organization. And that also is a more important topic than just having technology for the sake of having it.
Wonderful. Let me ask you this. Where are you seeing in maybe other industries or other areas AI playing a role that you could see is going to be maybe the next wave here in the DSO space?
No, I think there is a tremendous amount of computer vision AI right now. Companies like Pearl are doing a fantastic job diagnosing treatment, and that is huge. There's a huge disparity between diagnosis that occurs for the same modality, say same tooth. You will see 100 doctors doing 100 things. So that is a huge opportunity for diagnosing and treatment acceptance. AI is going to make a big impact on that. AI obviously is making an impact on marketing. I'm sure you guys will look at that in terms of like looking at how you market yourself better. But I think as we move the needle towards what we call singularity in AI, singularity is the point of point where the humans and the computers, you can't really figure out who did this, right? And they call it the Turing test. So when a computer passes those tests, where you cannot detect whether this was a human or a computer, that's where we're going to see actual virtual receptionists answering calls and doing things that are going to let our teams spend more time with their patients. AI is not about spending less time with our patients or AI displacing humans. Humans need to be doing stuff with other humans, and the AI needs to do stuff in the background. There is a lot of AI that's going to coming in revenue cycle management right now. People like Zentist and many other guys that are wondering, that's also going to affect claims management, claims analysis, and so forth. So there's a claims validation, lots of great AI in that space. I think in the next 5 years, we're going to see almost 100% of practices use some sort of AI to help optimize their practice so that they can spend more time with their patients, earning their trust and getting them to the right health.
Wonderful. Well, look, thank you so much for that. I definitely want to, I'm going to share this real quick. If you guys would like to connect with Amol and you can get with us, this is our contact information. We'll make that connection. We're glad to do that and hope that you continue the conversation. I think what an amazing testament to how far we have come, that we're sitting here at a solution event talking about AI in the DSO space. I think that is just, that's tremendous, and would love to continue the conversation. I think that a lot of times, that once again, this is where the conversation starts, but whenever we're connected and we're at these events, like sitting over coffee or a drink and saying, what do you think of this? And starting that's what gets us to the point we're at today, and what's going to continue this evolution. So I just really encourage everybody to reach out and do that. Amol, any last finishing thoughts before we move on?
Well, the last finishing thought is, patientprism.com is how you reach out to us. Have a conversation with us. Subscribe to our social media. We spend a lot of time and energy on creating good content that's going to drive good conversations in dentistry. And I really appreciate Dreamscape for bringing together a group of people that are really fostering the circulation of good ideas, because we need good ideas and we need ways to implement those ideas and execute those ideas so that we can deliver the full promise of dentistry in healthcare. Which our industry should be a $1 trillion industry. It's going to get there one day. It's going to get there one day, but we have to start somewhere. And I really appreciate Glenn and the entire Dreamscape team for giving me the honor to speak here today. And I'm looking forward to speaking to each one of you at a conference nearby or virtually.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back at 2:05 Eastern, and we're going to continue this on with Alan Swartz. He's going to talk about filling the data void in a very dynamic market. Excited about that. And Amol, once again, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys soon. Thank y'all.